It often feels like even the smartest AI has some pretty big blind spots, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret upgrade that's fixing all that. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. And trust me, it's quietly changing everything. So think about this. You've got this incredibly powerful AI, a large language model, right at your fingertips. But have you ever asked it about something that just happened? Or maybe about a private company document? It just completely whiffs. So why can't the smartest AI in the world know about your world? Well, the reason is actually pretty simple. These giant AI models, they're trained on a massive but totally static snapshot of the internet. You can almost think of it like an old photograph of the past. They have a fixed memory with a very clear knowledge cutoff date. And this is exactly where RAG comes into play. RAG is basically the process of connecting that super powerful AI to an external, live knowledge base. It's kind of like giving the AI a library card to a special, up-to-date library that contains all the info it's missing. Now, to really get why RAG is such a huge deal, we first have to understand the two major problems that a standard LLM has. I like to think of it as a genius, but, a genius with some really serious blind spots. So the first big problem is that knowledge cutoff. Because the model's training data just stops on a certain date, its answers can be totally outdated. And if you push it on something it doesn't know, it might just make stuff up. That's a phenomenon we call hallucination. The second problem, it has absolutely zero access to your private data. It can't see your company's internal reports, your latest emails, or anything that isn't already out there on the public web. Here's a really easy way to picture it. If an LLM was trained on all the data in the world right up until August 1st, it has no clue, none, what happened on August 2nd. And if you ask it, it might try to guess or hallucinate an answer because, at its core, it's designed to be helpful, not to just say, hey, I don't know. Okay, so you're probably thinking the same thing I was. The logical next question is, well, why not just retrain the model all the time with new data? I mean, it seems like the obvious fix, doesn't it? Well, here's the catch. Retraining one of these massive models is an incredibly expensive and super complicated process. We're talking about models with billions and billions of parameters. Trying to update that thing every single day or even every week, it's just not practical. At all. So, if constantly retraining the model is off the table, what's the smarter play? This is where RAG just shines. The absolute best way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book test. Instead of forcing it to memorize absolutely everything, you just give it the books so it can look up the right answers. And this quote from our source material really just nails it. RAG extends the already powerful capabilities of LLMs, all without the need to retrain the model. See, it's a much, much more efficient way to make the AI's output way more relevant and accurate for what you actually need it to do. And make no mistake, this isn't some niche experimental piece of tech. According to our source, a staggering 90%, that's 90% of the AI use cases that companies are building right now are built around RAG. So yeah, this isn't just a cool feature. It's quickly becoming the new standard for practical AI. Okay, so how does this whole open book test for an AI actually work under the hood? Well, the entire RAG process can really be broken down into two main steps. Step one is all about getting the library ready for the AI. It's a process called data ingestion. First, the system loads up all your documents. We're talking PDFs, web pages, whatever you've got. Then it breaks those big documents down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Next up is the really clever part. It creates something called embeddings for each little chunk. And finally, it stores all of these embeddings in a special vector database, which is built for incredibly fast searching. So what in the world are these embeddings? Just think of it like this. They turn words and sentences into coordinates on a giant map of meaning. This is what lets the AI search for related concepts and ideas, not just exact keywords. It's searching for the meaning behind your words, which is a total game changer. All right, on to step two, finding the actual answer. This is the retrieval and generation part. It all starts when you, the user, ask a question. Your question also gets turned into an embedding, and the system searches that vector database to find the most relevant chunks of text from your library. Then, and this is the augmented part of RAG, it combines your original question with that retrieved context into a brand new, supercharged prompt for the LLM. And finally, the LLM uses that very specific context to generate a really accurate, fact-based answer. So we've gone over the problem, and we've walked through the process. Now let's talk about the big picture, why this is such a fundamental shift for how we use AI. The advantages here are just huge. First off, and this is a big one, it dramatically reduces those annoying hallucinations because the AI's answers are now grounded in specific facts. It also gives the AI access to real-time, up-to-the-minute information. It unlocks all of your private, internal company knowledge, making it instantly searchable. And like we said, it's way, way cheaper than constantly retraining the entire model from scratch. All of this is what's enabling the powerful, reliable AI tools that we're all starting to see pop up everywhere. So when you really boil it down, we figured out how to give AI a perfect, totally customizable memory that can be updated in real time. And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. Now that we can give an AI a perfect memory of literally anything we choose, what are we going to ask it to remember?